Chris, I thought they were. I thought they were going to give it away. I thought they were going to give it away. But hey, man, they tried their best. But you know what? I'll take this win. I'll take it.
You know what? It kind of felt like, somebody on the corner, who just is like, hey, you know what? I don't want this couch anymore. Let's just put it on a corner here and see if anybody picks it up. And the couch is still there 2 weeks later. They were trying to give it away, but just nobody came to pick up the couch.
Hey, man, I'm in the middle of a move. I get it. Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight.
Ready?
Let's huddle up.
Let's just do it, okay?
For Panthers Playbook, driven by Carolina Ford Dealers. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea, Dennis Cox here with you. Leave your thoughts in the comment section on this 36-30 win in overtime for the Carolina Panthers over the Arizona Cardinals. It got rough there for a bit late in the game, but you know what? You lean on the run game and Chuba Hubbard, and good things happen.
Oh,
what?
The run game?
The what?
Running
what?
The ball?
What?
Like, what a concept.
What a concept, Chris.
I'm glad, and maybe this is something that Dave Canales wanted to. I like the game plan from the offense early on.
Yeah.
Defense is the reason why this thing was close. The offense, I didn't think the offense did a bad job. There's a few things I think Bryce missed on. One of the last times he was sacked, he missed Chuba Hubbard in the flat. He just did something he just didn't have. I felt like he was trying to push too much at certain points. And then of course he misses Dan Chisena where he could have converted on a fourth and 2, and that could have potentially ended the game. Potentially.
It probably would.
But at the end of the day, though, they lean on the run game. They came out, they were taking chunks, out of the clock, which was really good. And they kind of stuck to it. There wasn't a lot of mistakes. And that's the good thing. Right here's the interesting thing, though. Time of possession was only a difference of 6 seconds.
Yeah,
and the Cardinals won that. But then you turn the ball over twice, and Panthers don't turn the ball over at all. That really helps you out with that, especially with the defense like really just trying to just hand it to them. But I think this was a solid game. This is one of those growth games for the Carolina Panthers, beating a team that, is actually a pretty decent team.
Yeah. 500 team.
Needed to win this game to keep their hopes alive for the playoffs. So like this was almost like a playoff game for the Panthers, and they showed up just because of the stakes that were involved for the team on the other side.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of learning opportunities from this one. I think that's something that over the last, with the exception of last week, but really over the last 6 games or so, there have been a lot of opportunities for this young team. I say young in the terms of second-year quarterback. You got young wide receivers with, Jalen Coker. I know Legette's hurt right now, but also a young head coach and play caller and Dave Canales. Is that these opportunities that they're getting in these games to figure it out, because they're going to be in a situation, hopefully in the next year or two, where they're the team that's 7-7 fighting for a playoff spot because the team improves. All right, how do you handle, hey, you're up late in a game by 3 points and it's right after a 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter? How do you approach 3rd and 2? Okay, Bryce Young as well. Hey, ball's in your hands.
Yeah.
Make that pass.
Yeah.
Because if the pass is completed, it's a first down. They probably walk away with the rest of this game because Arizona blows their final timeout. It's first down. You could probably not at least run the clock down to, late in the game. Little things like that. And also like Dave Canales, do you make that call the next time, or do you lean on Chuba Hubbard to go get you the 2 yards? These are all questions and things that you have to figure out as a head coach, and you're getting live reps doing these kinds of things. And I think it's also great. Chuba Hubbard, we've seen him have fumbles in overtime against the Bucs. Hey, here's the rock. Go win us the game. And sure enough, that's exactly what he did on 2 carries.
Yeah, great job for the Carolina Panthers overall. I'm sorry. Great job for the Carolina Panthers offense overall. There's a few things that, again, I want Bryce Young to kind of clean up, but there's still just mistakes in a young career, right? Like, just you're learning how to win. There's not many opportunities. There haven't been many opportunities for him to be in this situation where essentially you complete a pass and your team wins.
Yeah.
And so now that he's been in this situation before, hopefully this helps him out a little bit. I definitely want to go to the defensive side of the ball because, boy, like, here's one thing that was interesting. You texted this to me since we were talking during the game, and the Cardinals were down by 3 scores.
And
what did they do? They leaned on the run game. Right? We've seen where the Carolina Panthers will be down by 3 points, and all of a sudden we're airing it out. We are airing it out. And the run game really helped. I mean, of course, you're going against the worst run defense in the NFL.
Makes sense.
But they went behind James Conner, and I'll say this, and people will probably call me a hater in the comments. James Conner doesn't get hurt. I don't know if the Panthers win this game.
I was thinking the same thing because he got hurt when Arizona cut the deficit down to 3. He got hurt like a couple plays before that. And I thought I was thinking the same thing. Like, man, especially late in the game, they really could have used him.
I don't know if they'd win, but the Panthers defense, I thought at times showed they were opportunistic. They got certain sacks at right times. I thought Mike Jackson had some really good pass breakups towards the end. Damani Richardson getting that interception, which was really timely. Yeah. I actually thought the pass was over the line of scrimmage, so I thought it was going to be a legal 4 pass.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. So you'll take that. But
plenty of flags that the refs threw. Why throw another?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really sloppy game.
It really was.
From that standpoint. But the number one thing is over this offseason, the main thing is like you got to get guys who can tackle and stop the run.
Yeah,
like if rushing the passer stays about the same, I'm fine with it, right? Okay. Like they're okay, and that is better than what they were last year. But everything else took a step back. Coverage, I think, took a step back. Tackling took a step back. Stopping the run took a huge step back, and it was already bad last year.
Yeah,
and that was really the only real weakness for the defense last year. And so it's this is one of those games where it could have really bitten you. And if James Conner, who got hurt, didn't get hurt, bro, we could be talking about something completely different right now. And you can't have all the ifs and all that. So the Panthers did win, but also you have to prepare for the ifs. And the next year, folks are going to look at the stats from 2024 and say, well, the Panthers were horrible running that ball. Let's run it at them. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And you're going to get tested early because of that. So that's something that really needs to be addressed in offseason.
Yeah, they're definitely teams are already challenging him anyway. Like we said, they being the Cardinals were down 17. Sure enough, like, hey, let's keep running the ball. Let's keep running the ball. Let's stick to our identity. And sure enough, James Conner had over 100 yards on 12 carries in the first half alone. He only had 4 other carries the rest of the game because he went out with that knee injury. But you know what? Panthers shouldn't apologize for it. You shouldn't. You shouldn't apologize for it. I thought it was pretty telling, speaking of defense, the struggles of Jordan Fuller when he's played this season. Dude's a healthy extra today. Like, hey, you're healthy. You sit. Damani Richardson goes in and plays. And that interception that he had late was big. And I think it kind of made up for, getting stiff-armed to the ground that he suffered from James Conner. Like, hey, rookie.
Sat him down.
He said, rookie.
Him down.
I will say, though, at least in the red zone, in tight, I thought Bryce Young made some really good throws. Like on the touchdown pass to Adam Thielen, it was what they call a smash route. So the outside guy runs short, maybe like a little flat, but or a little hook route, runs short. Inside guy being Thielen runs a corner. So they're layered on top of each other. Some call it a high-low, but the concept's known as a smash. And all of Bryce Young has to do is read, if it's his own defense, all right, just read the corner. If the corner comes up, plays a low guy, throw it high. If he stays up high, throw it to the low guy. It's really it. Like, that's the concept of a smash. And then the dime that he dropped into David Moore, like as soon as he got the ball, moonshot, but you know what? Right to where David Moore can make a play on it. And I thought it was a phenomenal pass on that one to David Moore.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that Bryce actually, it was amazing. And then they said it on the broadcast. I think it was the first time it was 98 games that the Panthers scored touchdowns on their first 3 offensive drives.
Wow. I didn't hear that one.
Yeah,
wow.
I was like, that's a long time, Chris.
That's a pretty long time.
Long time.
That's a pretty long time. But that's one of the things I wanted to bring up too. And I'm glad you reminded me, even though there are things I wanted Bryce Young to be better at, the fact that he ran for some. He ran for a touchdown, and he threw some touchdowns, and also the run game. Like this is what you want to see out of the Panthers offense, and being led by Bryce Young. Still a few small things to clean up. Nothing is perfect, but man, it's the offense definitely to me took a nice step, and this is a Cardinals defense that really had a lot to play for with some legit. We talked about it on Thursday. Who are the home run hitters for the Carolina Panthers? Who are the guys who are those game changers? We don't know if they have them. Yeah. But the Cardinals certainly have one on their defense for sure. Budda Baker. Yeah. And, good job for the Panthers offense to, he came in, he made his tackles, he had made his plays or whatever, but he didn't wreck the game at all. And that's good when you look at how the Panthers are able to execute with that. I'm overall happy. I will say this. I didn't notice it was noticeable that Xavier Legette was not on the field. Yeah. Because now, like, I like, of course, Coker, and of course I like Adam Thielen, but you didn't have the guy that felt like they could be that home run threat, that game record that we were talking about before. And with Xavier Legette not on the field, it felt like something was missing. It really felt like something was missing. Honestly.
Yeah, his athleticism not being on the field was noticeable.
Yes. Yeah, and it could thing. And I, it made me start thinking. I guess I kind of overlooked this before. But when Bryce Young would go into scramble drill, a lot of those times, and I wish I had numbers on it, but it felt like a lot of those times in the last few weeks, he was probably targeting Xavier Legette a lot of those times, right? Yeah. Went to scramble drill a bunch of times today, and he had to throw it away a lot of those times. And so that's where I started noticing, okay, maybe X is a little bit better than what we've given him credit to be, especially with his route running and things like that. And again, the drops were a concern. But that play where he dropped the touchdown pass that would have had them beat the Philadelphia Eagles, he beat his man.
Yeah. Oh, he cooked him.
He was wide open.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking about one of the better corners in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I want him to get better. I want him to work on his hands, and we need him back. Because I thought it was definitely like, man, maybe that game looks a little different. Maybe the Panthers put it away a little bit better on offense if with Xavier Legette on the field for them.
Is it troubling to you that Jadeveon Sanders has not been really noticeable at all in the passing game over the last 3 games since he's come back from the neck injury? He didn't even get 1 target today. I mean, to me, I was like, this is a great opportunity when you don't have Legette and you're running the more quote unquote bigger lineup because you're using a lot of 2 tight end sets. Like where's JT? Where's JT?
I thought about that. I'm going to hold back from, I guess, putting him down a little bit because also it doesn't feel like Dave Canales' offense purposely features a tight end, if that makes sense. Yeah. Right? They'll have some opportunities, but I don't know if they have the amount of opportunities they should have. And then also we weren't at the game. So it's hard to see, without the all 22 and us being at the game and being able to see how things are opening up. It's hard to see if he was, even open on some of these plays because we're getting, pretty much a smaller view. So I want to hold off on that. But I did notice that, and it is a little concerning to me. But hopefully, again, as a rookie, you can do this. It's like a new stock when it comes on. It goes public. All of a sudden, it can shoot down. It can come back, shoot up, and go back down really quick. It's like a roller coaster. You just don't know, and then it starts to even out at a certain point, especially after it's been on the market for a while. Maybe that's what needs to happen. So maybe we'll see what happens, and then also it could be other people are not there to help him out. Maybe he got open. Going back to what I said before. Because people were paying attention to Xavier Legette.
Maybe.
So maybe that complements each other. And maybe that's a piece of it. But that's something we don't have enough of a sample size to really put that out there. But that's maybe something to watch.
Jadeveon Sanders did make a great block on Bryce Young's scramble for a touchdown run. He made a big block downfield that allowed Bryce Young just to step
Who says he can't block?
Right? He blocks on passing plays too. Chris, I know you're going to love this. Overall, there were 65 plays run by the Carolina Panthers in this game. And you factor in the sacks that Bryce Young took and also his scrambles. If you look at it, 31 design runs are called runs on those 65 plays.
26 passing attempts.
26 passing attempts. Again, add in 5 scrambles by Bryce Young. You also throw in the 3 times that he was sacked. So again, all factoring into that, but 31 designed runs in the course of this game, which I love. I love the fact that you had that during the course of this game. And yeah, you have a bell cow and Chuba Hubbard, and look what happened. He had his best yards per carry in like 8 weeks, it feels like.
But also just look what happened as far as the outcome of the game. And, you bring that up too, 25 carries for Chuba. I asked, Dave Canales, what was after the Bucks game.
Yeah, after the Bucks game.
What's the sweet spot, because I think at the end of that game, maybe Chuba had, I can't remember, maybe 17, 18 carries or something like that. And I had been saying I want it to be, over 20. And right now it's 25 for this game. And you saw the difference. So
let's go.
I still think that there are still some opportunities that they could still try to use the run game a little bit more. Also, maybe be more creative with the run.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that the Panthers offense is super creative with the run or in the red zone. So those are things that could stand to get better. But they scored 6 in the red zone on multiple occasions, right? You got to give it up for them for that, because that's unusual for the Carolina Panthers last few years anyway. And then they get an early turnover. They convert 4th downs early in the game. This one had all the markings of what you look at when you look at a solid win. And again, if you just had a defense that was just a little bit better, you don't need to go to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
and let's talk about this. How thin is that line between most accurate kicker ever and boy, I don't want you on my team? Because listen, also, let's not forget this.
Yep.
If an extra point is made, we're not talking about overtime right now. It puts the Cardinals in a very different situation at the end of the game. So let's put that out there.
It's funny. Hooked it to the left.
Let's put that out there.
Hooked that to the left again. It's the same. I posted on X. Panthers had no business going into overtime in this game. None. But you know what? We'll take a win, Chris. We'll take a win. And
extra
by the way,
extra reps,
baby. That's right. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Again, thanks to our friends over at Carolina Ford Dealers, your sponsor here at Panthers Playbook. With the Ford F-150 on your team as game on, see your Carolina Ford dealer today. Chris, that was the home finale. The home finale. 2 left.
We doubled the win total from last year.
Let's go.
Doubled the win total from last year.
Let's go.
Woo! On senior day at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
All right, let's go to homecoming.